So we just finished up the SCS curve number method, and now I'm going to show you how to do the Horton infiltration method. So I didn't have a project with Horton data, so what I did was I went to the Horton guidelines, or books. I don't even know where they are. I just looked it up online, and I took a shapefile that had SCS curve number data in it, and I used that shapefile to estimate some Horton parameters, using just basically by comparing them to the curve numbers. And then I was able to generate this shapefile right here that's called Infiltration Horton shapefile. So I'm going to drag and drop that on the map, and let's put this in our external layers group. Now we go right click, open attribute table, and then we click the edit pencil, and we need to add that new field. So if I click and add that new field, it's just called name, spelled just like this, and we need to set it to a string because it's going to be filled with text data. Then you click OK. Now to fill this, all we need to do is to fill this with individual data. Okay, it has to be unique. So what we do is we set this to name, and then we open the expression editor, and this will be, we can use a tool called concatenate, but here it's just called concat. So you search your options, you can see that there are many ways to concatenate data. So what we are going to do is we're going to use this concat. See, it's under the string drop down. So we're going to use this concat command, and then that'll be string 1 and string 2, and string 1 will be just doesn't actually matter. Let's just call this Horton. And that's a string, so it does need a single quotation mark. And then we might do Horton, comma, actually what could do Horton dash, comma, and then maybe like the FID. So this could be the ID right here. And then we close that quotation mark, and you can see here that this would be a unique name for feature 1, and then feature 10 would be a unique name as well with the correct FID. Now in this case our FID is a 0, starts at 0 because it's an array. So if we wanted that to start at 1, we could use another tool called @row number. Now let's see if that's valid. Yeah, then that one, see, that one updated from 0 to 1. So you can use FID, you can use the ID field, or you can use row number. And you click OK, and now that is ready to update all of the features in this list. So see, now I just updated feature number 1. And so if I can just save this data and then turn off the editor. But once we're finished getting our data with a unique ID, then we need to take it to this layer, and we need to copy it to this layer. So that's pretty simple. If you're on your infiltration layer that contains your infiltration polygons that cover your project area, you can use this tool to select all of the features. Once all the features are selected, you can click Control-C to copy them. Then they're now copied to your clipboard. Then if I click Infiltration Areas and I click Edit here, you'll see that you can paste those features into Infiltration Areas. And then you can click Save. Now this is a cool feature. I'm also going to click Unselect All just so we don't have to look at that in yellow. Now we'll turn those ones off, and you can see that the exact same features were copied between the two layers. But one thing that didn't get copied was the correct attributes. So this infiltration polygon layer, this is an infiltration shapefile, this is an infiltration polygon layer that's built into the geo package. So what happened is that the name, because this layer had a name field that was, let's see if that's still open. It is not. Let's open them both real quick so we can see them side by side. And infiltration areas. Okay, so let's go ahead and take a look at these two side by side. So you see here, FID1 and Horton1, the name imported because our shapefile had a field with a lowercase name, and this shapefile had a field with a lowercase name. Now the same thing would have happened if our shapefile had had this exact same name spelling of the Horton initial, Horton final, and the decay. If those three fields were exactly the same, they also would have populated. But then I wouldn't be able to show you how to do a table join, and I really would like to show you how to do a table join because they are so useful. So what we are going to do is we are going to join these two data sources and use this data to fill these three fields, because you may not always have this these proper fields. You may not always have those proper fields in the proper name, and you either can rebuild them with the correct name or you can do a table join. So I think we can just leave those two open. So what we want to do is we want to do our table join here. So first, I think I already hit save. I think I can turn the editor off, and I want to double click Infiltration Areas to open the properties, and then here is a join field. Now I will add a join, and then I want to join this layer. That's the layer I'm on, Infiltration Areas. I want to join this layer to Infiltration Horton. Okay, let's do, and just hit the I key. It'll take you right down to them, and then you can just use the arrow key until you get to it. Then once you get to the correct layer, you can hit enter or just click it with your mouse, however you like to do that. And now this says that our join field is name, and our target field is also, you guessed it, name, because that's the two fields that match. And this may not always be the exact same name, but the data will have to match, otherwise you won't do a join. Now if any of these features don't match, that data will not be added to the attribute table. But of course in our case they all match. So what we want is to check the joined fields, and we just want the ones that we are going to be using. We don't need the rest of them. And if you want to do a custom field, why don't we just call this Horton, and that'll be a little bit cleaner for reading. And we click OK, and I don't think you need to click apply, but I'll just do it anyway and click OK again. Now the next time that I open the attribute table for the infiltration areas, the table has been appended with the join data, as you can see here. And so now what we can do is we can open the editor and set the field to Horton initial, and then we set the drop down arrow to Horton initial Horton. And so that was the name we told it to put in front of our new fields. Put that there and click update all, and you will see the data copied into this field. Do the same thing for Horton final. This one goes to Horton final, which is this guy. Update all, and you can see that now these have been copied. And then the final one is we set this to decay, and then this one goes to Horton decay, and then update all. And now this field is full of data. So note that you cannot select those joined fields because you cannot edit those joined fields, but you can utilize them, and you can view them, you can sort by them. So there's all sorts of things that you can do with this table editor, and we have just showed you how to fill a unique name and how to copy data from an alternate table using a join. Now we'll click save and then toggle the editing off, close the table, and the final thing that you want to do when you do work with join data is to delete this join, because it will slow things down in general, especially if it's a large table that you're joining. So I click OK. Now the final thing that you need to do is to go back to your infiltration editor. Don't forget to check your global parameters. You need to check Horton global on. Sorry, I already did this video once, so that's why there's already in here. And then you need to put some generic data in here. Don't worry about these rates, because these rates will be replaced by the local rates that we'll be getting from our shapefile. So any cell that doesn't have a local rate assigned to it will use these rates. Any cell that these are the global rates, but we are going to fill in every global rate. And I'll click OK, and then I will click Schematize, and that is going to go into this user layer and sample that data into the grid. And then next time that we export the project, the data will be there. So don't forget to turn on your control parameters, to turn on your infiltration switch, because this system won't turn it on for you. It's one of those cases where you have to turn it on. Then you click Save, and now you can export the project. So Import Export button, export DAT files. It's clearly we've been using the same folder for hydrology. Select the folder. We don't need all of that. We just need the infiltration and the cont.dat because that was updated. Then I'll click OK, and I'll click OK again. Now we have been looking at our data files in Notepad++, so let's go ahead and open our infil.dat in Notepad++, and just like how we reviewed our SCS data in the previous video, we can now review this Horton data. Now there is something new that the plugin is not doing yet, and that is using an initial abstraction for rainfall. So by the time you get this video, I hope that that will be added to the plugin, but for now you have to put it in, and then if you ever overwrite this infiltration file, you'll need to remember to put it back in. So this is an initial abstraction that is applied to the rainfall before the infiltration starts. This is your global line of data. This switch means that you're using Horton, and these are your local lines of data. Now remember I said that the lines 1, or so it looks to me like line 1 through 7 is missing from our area. So line 1 through 7 might be using these global parameters unless it's somewhere else and these are not organized by FID. I didn't know we had any missing data in this project, but it's possible that we didn't have enough coverage on this project to write those 8 fields. So I'm going to click Save on this, and the next time I export the project, well, the next thing that we export will be green and amped, but I would just need to keep that infiltration file safe. So let me go back here and let's see why those 8 or 7 grid elements are not being used. First, let's go to grid element 1, and okay, it looks to me like maybe there is some overlap right here on these 7 cells that is missing. So that might be why they didn't get any infiltration data. So that is probably what needs to happen in this case, is that we need to resample this file and make sure it has complete coverage. Or you can come here and you can click Edit and pick up the vertex tool, and then let's just pick these vertices up. Now I have them all selected because I did a click and drag using my vertex tool. So I have them all selected, so should be able to click one of them, move it out here, and then drop them all. Oh, and I missed one, so let's go ahead and grab that one too. And now I should have complete coverage. Now if I save this data and I hit the Schematize button again, I will now have complete coverage of that file, and I can export that again. And don't forget, of course, if you exported that again, don't forget to reset that initial abstraction, that initial rainfall abstraction. And I think that's it for the Horton method. So I'll go ahead and close this video down and we'll get set up to do the green amped method.